Hey everyone, it's FLAK Fire. The next Call of Duty game has apparently been spotted in the wild, or at least the suspected alpha of it. A cryptic game from Activision titled The Red Door recently appeared on Xbox Live. Now, I'm blurring the image here because I don't want to get slapped with a takedown, but you can check it out yourself with a link in the video description. Previous leaks on the PlayStation Store cemented the link between The Red Door and Call of Duty back in June, with Content ID referencing an alpha for the next game. But the new listing on Xbox Live actually includes some new, tantalizing information. Aside from some of the game's metadata reading Call of Duty Black Ops CIA, the game's description reads, quote, "There is more than one truth. If you go looking for answers, be ready to question everything and accept that nothing will ever be the same. The red door awaits. Do you dare step through it?" End quote. The picture shows an image of a maze through a keyhole. It isn't the first time Activision has tried to be sneaky about this kind of stuff. The codename for the Black Ops 3 alpha was Northwoods, and that also contained some cryptic information that obviously didn't really mean anything. But this certainly sounds like something out of Black Ops, especially when you look back at the series and how it heavily leans into pseudoscience like mind control. And you remember that interrogation scene from Black Ops 1? What was the color of the light above the door? It could, of course, just be a red herring, but let's dig into some more of the new info before we toss it out entirely. Some tech-savvy people have apparently been able to actually boot up the game, though it won't progress past the start screen. Fortunately for us, that screen contains some intriguing info. Among the juicy bits of info are a map of Berlin, a photo of a nuclear weapon test from Operation Crossroads, aerial reconnaissance of Cuba, and 2 formerly classified memos. All of this could of course just be placeholder material, but I went ahead and dug into it anyway. I was actually able to get hands on the real-world memos. The first is redacted in-game, but the real-world memo discusses methods of concealing secret messages using invisible ink. You can pause the video if you'd like to read the whole thing. That is a pretty benign topic, but 2 dates appear regarding the document's secrecy level, 1976 and 1978. Those dates are potentially important as the original Black Ops took place from 1961 to 1968, while Black Ops 2 featured a historical timeline from 1986 to 1989. That leaves the entire decade of the 1970s and an early part of the 1980s. According to Call of Duty lore, Wood spent much of the 70s in Vietnam. He was captured in 1968 and escaped in 1972. Meanwhile, Mason was operating in East Berlin in 1976. There are a lot of world events during that era that developers can work with. That is, if Activision wants to stick to the time frame that was only lightly explored in the PS Vita game Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. However, they could just reboot the entire storyline like they did with Modern Warfare. The other memo references the Cuban Missile Crisis and the ways in which the US would handle Cuba if they failed to withdraw or remove the missiles. The document also meshes with the pictures of the missile sites on that start screen. The image of Berlin, meanwhile, suggests contention with the Soviet Union might be on the menu, while the image from Operation Crossroads is probably just a stand-in for the specter of nuclear war, since the tests were conducted all the way back in 1946. However, some of the leaks surrounding the next Black Ops game indicate it will span the 40-plus years after World War II, so the inclusion of the image from Operation Crossroads might not be a coincidence. There's also the logo, which simply reads Call of Duty Black Ops, giving more credence to the idea of a reboot. Personally, I think Activision aren't fools. If something works, they're liable to try it again. The reboot of the Modern Warfare franchise has been massively successful, and there's a ton of untapped history for developers to utilize in creating a new Black Ops game. Korea, the Vietnam War, invasion of Czechoslovakia, and even Argentina's Dirty War. If Activision wanted to push the envelope further than Modern Warfare in terms of gritty content, now is the time to do it. In the age of fake news and shadowy deals, a game about covert CIA operations would resonate with a lot of people. I do also think it's a bit surprising that we haven't seen any kind of reveal from Activision about the new game, considering it's due out later this year. COVID might have thrown a wrench into the production process, or the developers and publisher might just be struggling with how do you reveal a game in an online-only environment. Rumors point to an in-game reveal in Warzone, similar to how Fortnite has done some of their more dazzling events. Whatever Treyarch and Activision end up doing for the next Call of Duty game, one thing is for sure: it's not going to replace Warzone. Activision have positioned the Battle Royale as free-to-play and independent of Modern Warfare, so don't expect a new BR to drop with the next game. I would not be surprised to see Zombies return, however. That game mode was getting more than a little bit tired after its last appearance, and they skipped it with Modern Warfare, so look for Treyarch to reboot that mode as well. Something fitting, considering they're the studio that created it in the first place. Overall, I think all signs point to a reboot of the Black Ops franchise. Expect it to be dark, gritty, and unapologetic. It'd be nice to see a game tackle some of the ethical questions around some of the CIA's more nefarious ops and to bring attention to a few things that have lurked in the shadows of history for far too long. I also think Black Ops' connection to mind control experiments offers developers a compelling platform to take the game into very imaginative spaces that could create some incredibly unique gameplay. I'm curious what you think, however. What are your thoughts on this whole Red Door business? Should Call of Duty continue the Black Ops timeline or reboot it? Which would you rather see? Tell me down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If not, a dislike, and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to catch all the latest Call of Duty news. As always, thanks for watching.